Hey guys, welcome back to my Meet the OC series. This is my OC Lichen, and technically Lichen isn't actually a mushroom fairy. He's based on the microorganism that you can find in nature that's called Lichen, which has a symbiotic relationship with different types of mushrooms and fungi. And when I was creating him, I didn't actually know that it was pronounced Lichen, so I was calling it Lichen. So my OC became Lichen, even though it's spelt exactly the same way as Lichen, but for my OC it's pronounced Lichen. So anyway, because of the symbiotic relationship thing that this microorganism has, my OC, he's really kind of supportive of the other fairies, and his power is to really kind of help them grow their mushrooms kind of big and strong, and if they're struggling to grow them, he can help speed up the process and make them kind of multiply faster and everything. So yeah, he's really kind of caring to the other fairies, and he's really sweet to all of them. He treats pretty much everyone equally, and because in nature, lichen, the microorganism, it's virtually indestructible, and it can survive in any kind of type of environment. So as a result, Lichen he's really difficult to harm or injure, and he has this sort of really kind of extended lifespan. He's the oldest fairy in the mushroom forest. He's lived for hundreds of years, and he will go on living for hundreds of years. And as a result, he's kind of witnessed an awful lot of fairies kind of come into the world and then die, and then the cycle kind of repeats. So over the centuries, he's learnt to kind of distance himself from the other fairies so that he doesn't get too emotionally kind of attached to them because of the fact that they all die and he keeps on living. So in part 3 of my story, it gets kind of interesting because you get to see and hear more about how he knew the past generation of fairies, because he knew Portobello's mother and he knew kind of the other older fairies when they were really young and everything. So you get to kind of learn more about the history of what happened prior to where my story began in part 3, and he kind of fills in the blanks of who all these new characters are that get introduced. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. He's kind of the go-to guy for knowledge on the past, since he's lived so much of it. And he does really admire Portobello. She's the one fairy that has managed to kind of worm herself into his affections, and there's actually kind of a reason for that, which you find in part 3, and it has to do with how she kind of came to be in the first place, because it's sort of not, she didn't come into the forest the way normal fairies are born. Usually my fairies are born from true love, and they kind of spurt out of these little mushrooms when the act of true love kind of creates them. And yeah, but Portobello's slightly different, and you'll find out more about that in part 3 of the story. But because of the way she kind of exists, it made him, Lichen, more attached to her than the other fairies. And but in part 1 of the story, he kind of knows nothing can really happen between them, because one day she'll die and he'll keep living, so he tries to deny that he has any feelings for her, and he tries to push them aside, but not very well. And yeah, by the end of part 1, he kind of has to accept that he does actually have feelings for her. So anyway, this is my OC Lichen. I hope you enjoyed this video and liked learning about my character, and I'll see you guys all soon. Thanks for watching. Bye!